double warn to China. The U.S. steps up strength to Chinese claimed islands in South China Sea. Today, a United States Navy warship was sailing by islands claimed by China in the tense South China Sea, in the second such sailing in as many weeks, as the Biden president steps up the U.S. military presence in the disputed waters. And the guided missile destroyer, USS Russell, steamed within 12 nautical miles, in a so-called freedom of navigation operation, of the Spratly Islands, almost all of which China claims as its sovereign territory. Lieutenant Joe Keeleroy is a spokesman for the U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet, said this operation upheld the rights, freedoms and lawful uses of the sea recognized in international law. And the American also challenging unlawful restrictions on innocent passage imposed by China in the areas. In Vietnam, Taiwan, even the Philippines also have claims in the Spratly chain. This has transformed obscure reefs and sandbars became islands made of China.
Right, so I like to say Barakatay Hawa, Barakatay Hawa Shah, Barakatay Hawa, Barakatay Hawa Shah, Bahashem Rakaha Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and salutations to you brothers out there that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. So it's not going to be a long video. We're going to get straight to the point here. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 13 verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude and the mountains like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. It says, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So the Most High is gathering the nations together. To do what? To destroy America, right? Babylon. So you have nations coming together. I believe, I want to say it was, if I'm not mistaken, but there's China and I believe it's China and Pakistan that's having war drills together, right? The Pakistani army. So a lot of things is taking place, you know, over into the Middle East that's leading up to World War III. So this is the book of Jeremiah 49 and 14, right? And these same verses that I'm going to get goes into the book of Obadiah, the 1st chapter. It says, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. And that's what's happening. You know, we are very closely approaching World War III. So if you keep updated with what's going on between the U.S., between Russia, China, Iran, Pakistan, Turkey. Oh yeah, that's right. It's China, the Pakistanians, and Turkey having military drills, right, together, right? So what is that? What is that telling you? That's telling you that they're preparing for war. And who are they ultimately preparing for war? Who are they ultimately preparing for war? With the U.S., right? So let's get it. Verse 15. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwelleth in the cliffs of the rocks, which we know who dwelleth in the cliffs of the rocks. Going back to Genesis 36 and 8. It says, that holdeth the height of the hill, though thou shouldst make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. So who represents the eagle? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, America, right? So the scriptures are only prophesying the destruction of America, and that's obvious to see. It says also, Edom shall be a desolation, everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all her plagues thereof. It says, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. So there you go. So total destruction is coming to America, man. These nations are doing all these military drills. Why, man? Because upcoming war is approaching. You got all these videos coming out. And matter of fact, the scripture even tell you in the book of Jeremiah 49 and 15, it says, I will make thee small among the heathen. And that's what's happening, is that the U.S. is becoming small among the heathen. All of the same problems that these nations in the Middle East have, America is going through the same thing, which is leaving this place vulnerable, man. Now, if you look at the Roman Empire, right? During the Roman Empire, those were the same conditions that was going on, or situations that was going on within the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Empire was becoming vulnerable. You had armies stretched thin, right, all over the Eastern Rhone and Western Rhone, the provinces. You had all these, Roman militant troops in different regions of lands, right, where they couldn't ultimately protect their own kingdom. So, and then you had these Germanic tribes come in, and these Germanic tribes took over Western Rome, and then that's when the Western Roman Empire ended up falling. I don't have the exact time frame when it fell. I think it fell in somewhere between 473 BC, somewhere during that time. But the Germanic tribes came in and took over the western province of Rome, and then from there on in, Rome was also getting attacked by different nations as well, and then the Roman Empire fell. So that's what's coming upon America, as the same situations that happened within the Roman Empire is happening to America. And like I said, not only was they having to defend themselves from outside invaders, but they also had inside invaders, or they also had domestic disputes within the Roman Empire, which left them vulnerable economic wise. And when they had economic problems, people was doing what? They was coming up against their governments. They was coming up against, their counselors and things like that. So when you got war within yourself, it leaves you vulnerable for those that are outside of the kingdom. To do what? To find your vulnerability and to attack it. And the same thing is going to happen to America, man. So again, going back into the book of Jeremiah, I'm going to go into the book of Jeremiah 50, and I'll start at verse 9. It says, for lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations. And you got all these great nations that's coming up, man. All these great nations, again, from Russia, China, Turkey, Iran, North Korea, South Korea, Pakistan. A lot of nations are coming, Egypt. A lot of nations in the Middle East is coming together to come up against America, right? So it says, assemble It says, "For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain." Right? So their arrows shall be as a mighty excrement. So them arrows are coming in. Those arrows are coming in from all these different nations, all these powerful nations that's going to rise up against America, that's going to rise up against this place. Right? And the prophecies talk about wars and rumors of wars. Right? Going back into the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. It says, when shall be, matter of fact, let me just get it. This is the book of Matthew 24, and I'll start at verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the building of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming? And again, I go into this. Ezra asks the same thing, going back into the book of 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. It says, and of the end of the world. Right? Jump down to verse 6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right? So the scriptures are literally telling you the times of the sign, the signs of the time of the Lord, man. Right? So going back to Jeremiah 51 verse let's see. Salakia, bear with me. I just grabbed verse 11. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shield. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. Right? Because the Most High control the minds of the nations, the kings of the nations. Right? Going back into the book of Proverbs. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 2. Every way of a man is right. Salakia. Let's see here. Right. Proverbs 21, verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Most High controls the king's hearts, which is their minds. And he turn it however he wishes. Right? So going back to Jeremiah 51 and 14, it says, Salaki 11, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for the Lord have both devised, which means plan, and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Right? So this place is going to be destroyed, just as the Lord said. This place is going to be wiped out by what? Thermonuclear missiles. So there will be a nuclear war. Right? And that nuclear war will be the war to end all wars. Like the scriptures tell you in Revelations, the second woe has passed, and the third woe cometh quickly. Right? So this is the book of Revelations. Salakia, bear with me for a second. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 14, verse 11. Slock it backwards on that one. 11 verse 14. And the scripture says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So the third woe cometh quickly. And that's going to be the war to end all wars. But other than that, I'm going to end it from there and say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakah HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and salutations to you brothers out there that's doing this work in true sincerity. I like to say Shalom.
This Freedom of Navigation Operation USS Russell followed a similar operation conducted by the USS John S. McCain in the Paracel Islands in the northwestern area of the sea 12 days previous. In these operations, also conduct less than a week after two American aircraft carriers, the USS Theodore Roosevelt and USS Nimitz, conducted rare dual carrier drills in the South China Sea last week. And in terms of unlawful maritime claims in the South China Sea pose a serious threat to the freedom of the sea, Keeler Oy said in a statement. Like overflight, free trade and unimpeded commerce, and freedom of economic opportunity for South China Sea littoral nations, he said. After American President Joe Biden described China as the U.S. most serious competitor, the United States performs operations in the territory and also outlined plans to confront Beijing's attack on human rights, intellectual property, and global governance.